Good evening, beautiful people of the You Create the Dream page, and welcome to Awake in the Dream. Excuse me, this is our fortnightly call. It's an opportunity to ask me anything at all, and also a call where I share what I feel is needed for you today. So I'm just going to make sure our stats are working. Hello, beautiful Marina. I have no idea how you do it, but I love the way you do it. Always first. Excuse me. Always first. Hello, 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 beautiful. I went to the wrong place. Okay, so you went to the Power of Dream, the Power of You page, no doubt. I was actually just there and live a little while ago sharing the growth work video. Hello, beautiful Valerie. How are you? I so love hanging out with all of you guys. Beautiful, beautiful. Alrighty. So as I was saying, and obviously it's all running smoothly. So I'm heading back down to the comments. As I was saying, this is an opportunity to ask me anything at all. It's also a call where I share what I feel needs to come through. And it's interesting because 10 minutes prior to the call, I closed my eyes and I went into a little bit of a meditation. And I heard very clearly is what I heard very clearly is, are you ready? This is you, all of us, right? All of us. Are you ready? Like, are we all ready for a massive leap? This is what I got as I asked, as I sort of dug deeper. Are we all ready for a massive leap in the transformation that is necessary? So, where are we in October now? Okay, actually halfway through October, right? October, November, December, January, 4 months. Okay, so in the next 4 months, there's going to be some really big things that happen. And this came through quite clearly: disclosures, things being revealed, the corruption, the deceit, a whole lot more stuff. And I feel that it's probably not going to be drip fed. I think there's probably going to be a big drop of some information over the next few months. Now, again, when it comes to actually saying what is going to happen when, with dates and times and places, etc., it is all dependent on the collective. So the more we wake up, the more we question. You've got to come back to questioning. I'm saying this in every single program I hold. Put your hand on your heart, quieten down the noise of your mind, come into the heart center, which speaks in only a couple of words and in truth. It doesn't, if there's a story that follows, now your mind's in the way, right? Hand on heart. What more could this mean? What more is going on? Is this truth? These are the sorts of questions I want you to get used to asking all the time. But there's going to be a lot of stuff revealed, and it's going to be a much easier path for us to navigate the more awake we are, the more that we are ready for change, even though we might not know what that change is. The more we are just open, the more we realize that, you know what, we're here. We're here. Let's do this. Let's do this. Bring it on. However it needs to happen. Let's just move through this as quickly as we possibly can. And if we're not fearful of it, we're going to navigate this time with ease. The truth has to come out. You're going through a new phase of new fears. Yeah. And I'm actually going to touch on this tonight too, Valerie. Because tonight I actually want to talk about how easy it is to program people. And I know that I have touched on this in our The Power of You program. We were at module 2 today. For those that want to join or thinking about joining the Power of You program, it is not too late to join. You can easily catch up. Module 3 is until Wednesday, but you can easily catch up. And the videos actually stay up on the page for another 4 weeks beyond the last day. It is lifetime access, so although the videos come down, the page keeps going, but then you get the new upgraded version every time I deliver it. So it's not too late to join. But as I was saying in the program today in The Power of You, that I really felt the need to come to this page, a more public page, and actually share with you just how easy it is to be influenced, how easy it is to be programmed, and the fact that we are all programmed to some extent, right? So we're going down that rabbit hole, the rabbit hole of programming. Hello, beautiful Sharon, how are you? So, excuse me. So I know that I have spoken about subconscious programs many, many times. Good evening, Trash, how are you? So I know I've spoken about subconscious programs many times, but tonight what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take it further. I'm going to take it further. I'm going to take it deeper into what is happening and what has been happening for a very long time with the control of humanity. Okay, so although I'm going deeper, it's not going to be, you know, crazy intense. I feel that, you know, I need to have everybody understand it without you being fearful, but put you in a position where you think a little bit more clearly, where you have your eyes more wide open and you start to question everything. Because I promise you, questioning everything is going to change everything. Good evening, beautiful Lily. How are you? Marina, I have a question. My nearly 15-year-old said something that I found quite upsetting. They said that they have no faith in the future. Oh, hang on, I need to click see more. Oh, I nearly ended the call as I was clicking see more. Heart attack. No, just joking, universe. They said they have no faith in the future. It literally broke my heart. Oh my goodness, honey, I am so sorry. Do you know what? That's where the powers that be want people. I really need to speak to this for a moment. That is where they want people. We have to all accept responsibility for our part in everything, right? But when you don't know better, you don't know better. We have handed our kids over to an education system that separates them from what is really important. Programs, and that's what tonight is about, right? Programming. But here's the beautiful thing. I promise you, with every cell in my being, that light wins. Light wins. That we get through this time, and we are, like, the next couple of years is going to be an interesting ride, but right. But as these truths download, as the awakening starts to happen, are some people going to find it difficult to realize that everything they've lived is a lie and all that sort of stuff? Absolutely, because it's difficult to you know, suddenly realize that the things that you thought were true weren't true. But this is a necessary part of our awakening, and I want you to go for a walk in the bush. Go for a walk in the bush with your son. Like, get out in nature. Have him lean up against a tree. Have him breathe in, and have him look at that tree and say to him, you know, the tree, what it does before it grows up, it buries its roots deep into the ground. At the taller the tree, the deeper and stronger the root system. That it spends its time going deep, deep into the earth, really grounding itself, really connecting itself to the earth as it reaches up for the sun. Get out in nature. Just take him out in nature for a little bit. Spend some time walking. I promise you, a walk in nature will do the world of good. And you let him know that light wins. You let him know the light wins, and you let him know that more and more people are questioning. I'm going to start crying. More and more people are questioning. More and more people are waking up. And, you know, we elevate the whole. We don't need everybody to wake up. We just need enough people. And we are well on our way. We are well on our way. And, you know, for all of us here and all of us that listen to the replay, if we can all send a little bit of light, that would be lovely. And, you know, our kids need this. Our kids need the light. They're still trying to find themselves in a world that's turned into a shit show. They're trying to find themselves in a world that's gone a little bit crazy. And the crazy has to happen as part of the awakening. But they're trying to find themselves, and now they've got to try and find themselves in a crazy world where they're being told they can see there's nothing to look forward to. They're being told that. They're being told that, you know, the world is being destroyed, the world is crumbling. They're being told it's all stories. I promise you it is all stories, because let me tell you something. If the planet is a living organism, fact, right? We know that. Everything is energy. If the planet wasn't coping, it can shake, rattle, and roll and knock us off, like in a heartbeat. in a heartbeat. Like if we're just going to be really serious about it, it can do whatever is necessary. We are here. We are meant to be here for this time of transformation, and all the other bullshit stories are because the powers that be are trying to they're trying to control us, and they are losing control. When as people start to lose control, they get frantic, right, and they do stupid things. This is what is happening right now. They're losing control of humanity. Humanity is waking up, and they're pulling out every single stop they possibly can to keep us dumbed down. And we're saying no. We are saying no. We are saying no, and we are stepping up. Let me see, in case I've missed anything else. I need to come back up. Hi, Lily. How are you, sweetheart? Valerie, it's sadly so. We look like crazy when we speak up. I don't care how I look. Yeah, don't care how you look, honey. You stand up, you speak up, you shine bright, and the thing is too, I think we don't need to be vocal with everybody. It's not about being vocal with everybody, but it's about choosing where you put your energy. And I think that's it. And being okay if you kind of go, you know what, you're really not worth my energy and my time. So yeah, I'll sit here, have a cup of tea, and we'll talk about mundane bullshit. But I ain't going there because I choose better. That sort of thing, right? And not feeling like you're holding yourself back. Because if you feel like you're holding yourself back, then that's not healthy for you. What is the best way to navigate this with them? I think I may have covered that, Marina. Valerie sending lots of love. Hello, beautiful Sammy. How are you? How are you? I'm so loving that you are loving the Power of You program. Okay. Okay. All right. So this is all more reason for me to talk about subconscious programs, right? All the more reason for me to talk about how easily we're influenced. But I promise you all, light wins, without a doubt, light wins. So I've talked about subconscious programs, right? So if you've listened to any of my masterclasses, or if you've listened to especially the masterclass over the last weekend, you'll recall that I mentioned that our subconscious programs are what holds us back. That's what it comes down to. The only thing that holds you back are the stories in your head, the stories that are playing over and over and over. And what are they? They are subconscious programs. They're subconscious programs that keep us trapped, in a very limited existence, right? In an extraordinarily limited existence. And Valerie told today we've been brainwashed. This isn't what they sold it for. That isn't what they sold it for. Okay, I'm not sure if I'm understanding what. Told today we've been brainwashed. Somebody told you today? I'm not sure. So feel free to elaborate. Okay, so what holds us back are our beliefs, are our programs. And the fact is that we are only operating consciously for around 5% of the day. And the other 95% of the day, our subconscious program is running the show. It is basically in control of everything. So most of those subconscious programs that are downloaded from our time in the womb through to the age of 6 or 7, before the analytical mind kicks in. And we know that kids like sponges, right? They take in absolutely everything. And here's the thing, sadly, most of those programs are, or at least 70% of those programs are limiting. They're self-defeating type programs. But here's where we go deeper, much deeper. We can't blame our parents for the programs because they were programmed too, right? They were running on their programs. They were running on their level of consciousness. Everyone, absolutely. Oh, yes. I got it, Valerie. I got it, and I love the code. I got it. Excuse me. Excuse me, everybody. So everyone is always doing the best they can according to where they are currently at. So whilst we took on board the programs and the stories of those closest to us when we were very young, the truth is that the bombardment of programs has never stopped. It has been an ongoing thing. You have, tickle my throat, you've been programmed to believe that you will never be enough. You have been programmed to believe that no matter how hard you try, it is never going to be enough. You have been programmed to compare yourself to others. I mean, how does all marketing sold to you? Beautiful woman, beautiful hair, hot guy. There's always something. They're selling you something all the time, and they're telling you that if you want to be happy, you need to be like them. You've been programmed to never ever want to stand out. You have been programmed to not ever want to be better than average. You have been programmed to be fearful. You have been programmed to be sick. You have been programmed to be mediocre. Your your belief system is the only thing that has a virus. Your belief system has been infected, and that is the truth. The subconscious programs that do not serve you are an infection of your belief system, because in your innate truth, you know better than that. So, in effect, you're infected mentally. Okay. And now what's happened is you've been plugged into all these stories over the past couple of years. Things have been made bigger, badder, and uglier, right? I mean, let's just look at the last couple of years. The virus, the collapsing economy. I mean, heaven forbid we should look at the fact that the economy was destroyed. But the virus, a collapsing economy, the weather cycles, climate change, cyber attacks. You're not safe. You are not physically safe. Your information is not safe. Nothing is safe. You're being hit. You're literally being bombarded with one thing after another, after another, after another, after another. And why? Because they cannot let you come up for air. They cannot let you come up for air, because if you come up for air, if you have a moment to catch yourself and to breathe, you might wake up. So the bombardment has to continue. And it has to continue while they go, holy shit, we're losing control. We're losing control. These people are waking up. They're starting to remember how powerful they are. What do we do? Hit them with the next thing. Hit them with the next thing. Hit them with the next thing. Because you know what? If there was a big enough gap and you came up for air and you woke up, you would see the truth. You would see the truth. You would stand. And, you would realize that the puppeteers, of this shit show are doing everything they can so hard and fast because they are losing control. Instead of sitting back when you hear another thing happening, instead of going, oh shit, there's another thing, like, oh my God, what are we going to do? Da, 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 da. I'm not telling you to not be prepared. If anything, for the last couple of years, I have been saying to everybody, buy extra dry goods. I've been saying that for the last couple of years. Get some dry goods. Every time you go out to the shop, just get a little bit extra. Food shortages, are coming. I've mentioned all of these things. Just prepare yourself. And you know what? It's being prepared. If this, then that. If this, then that. If this, then that. That's all it is. If this, then that. If this, then that. So I have nothing to worry about. If I have my eyes wide open, I go, okay, well, I'm going to have a bit of this and a bit of that and a bit of this and a bit of that. Anyway, so they are losing control, right? They're losing control of being in control of you. I had first mentioned all of this on the 27th of March 2020, and you can still find that video. It's actually on the You Create the Dream page. I had mentioned all of this at the very beginning of this shit show, right? And on this video, which you can still find, as I mentioned, I said that there was a lot more going on than what we're told. A lot more. There's a whole lot more at play. And at the time, there was no mention of the thing, right? But I mentioned at the time that I saw this so much light, like so much light being bestowed on the planet, so much light here to help us and to assist us. But the issue was that people were in so much fear that I could see them crouching down and this light was bouncing off them. The light was bouncing off them. They couldn't contain the light. They couldn't receive the light. They couldn't accept the light. And that's where I said that for us that can, it is up to us to hold that light, to shower that light, and to be sure that we could hold it for everybody until they could hold their own. And I was told that in the very, very beginning. When you are in fear, you are far easier to control. Far easier. In fact, it's fear that has kept you living a mediocre life to begin with, right? Fear keeps us playing small. Fear keeps you from making changes. Fear stops you from making big changes in your life. Why? Because you're afraid of making the wrong choice. So I'll just stay here with the crap that I don't like. However, I'm used to it. So I'll stay here. Fear keeps you stuck in the mundane. But when you are in fear of your life, when you feel like you have nothing to live for and you haven't mastered your power and you haven't kept your critical thinking alive and your innate intuition alive and healthy, then what you will do is, without even thinking, you will follow the lead of the government and media without question. And you think they don't know that? Like, seriously, they know how to sell to you. They know how to market to you. They know how to put everything that you apparently desire, have spoken about, maybe looked at once on your phone, they know how to put it back in your face over and over and over again. So you think they don't know what you think. You think they don't know how to control you. You think they don't want to control you. Of course they do. Of course they do. But here's the thing, when you've given up your critical thinking, when you're in fear, it saves you from having to think for yourself. And if you're not thinking for yourself, then you are not the person that's questioning and wondering, is this the right choice? I'm hoping this is, starting to make sense. So you're programmed to believe that an organization, a group of people, have your best interests at heart. And we only need to look at the fact they're all talking like they are doing the best for their people all over the world. However, you put those 48 channels together and they're all reading off the same script. So who the hell is giving them the script? Who's giving them the script? There is so much going on, and this is not new. This is not just the last 2 years. The last couple of years was when the realization happened that we are starting to lose control. There is an awakening happening. Bring it on, bring it on, bring it on. Bring all the stuff to try and dumb them down again. Bring all the stuff to try and keep them down here. And the only reason, people have given up their critical thinking, look, the education system, no, that is wrong. That is wrong. Stop asking why. These are the facts. These are the facts. We're not here to teach you how to think. We're here to teach you what to think, etc., etc. Right? But when you hand over the decision making to people or anybody outside, I'm not talking about just governments out, but anyone outside of you, it's because you have been sufficiently programmed and you don't even trust yourself. You don't trust yourself, your innate intuition. So I want you to stay with me on this, because tonight's call is not about the virus. It is not about the last couple of years. It's about the fact that your lives, our lives, have been programmed for a very, very, very long time. And tonight is about showing you just how easily it happens, how much we have given up of ourselves to fall for the programs. So we have the programs from our family. We have the programs from our cultural programs, the things that have come down through our cultures. And we have this constant repetitive content. A bombardment of content is constantly thrown at you over and over and over again. And you can ask any amazing marketing person. They know how many times you have to see something before you will click on it. The algorithm knows. They know how much. They know which side of the paper. I mean, you try and put an ad in a magazine or a newspaper. This is pre-internet, but I'm sure it's still the same now. The right-hand page always costs you more than the left-hand page. Right? They know what you do with your eyes. They know where you go. They know how to sell to you. They know the mind. They know the mind, and they wanted to make sure that you never understood the mind. That's pretty much what it is. So they constantly bombard you through media, all forms of media, right? The media, the governments, the school system, all of it is a bombardment of information that will lead you to a particular destination of not believing in yourself. You are invisibly guided to believe certain things, and you are invisibly guided to believe that they are true. And here's the thing, you'll believe that you came up with your own ideas, that you came up with these through your own thought processes, because it's so cleverly done. So actually, I'm reminded of something I did just a few weeks ago. So a few weeks ago, I was having a conversation with somebody, and she said to me, "Yeah, but Joe, like, I'm intelligent." These were her words. I'm intelligent, and I know that I'm not programmed. I can't easily be influenced or programmed, and I've done the research, etc. And I said, "Okay, so who wrote the research? Who paid them to do that research? I mean, have you looked at that? Have you looked to see if there was a bias?" Okay, and this was about just something general. So then I went on to say to her, when you look in the mirror, what is it you think? When you look in the mirror, do you think you're fat? Do you turn around and check your butt? Do you spend a huge amount of money sourcing, buying and sourcing products to keep you looking young? She's not answering me, right? She's not answering, but I can see there's yeses, 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 right? Do you feel that you have nothing to wear in that huge wardrobe of yours? Have you ever thought of having cosmetic surgery? Do you feel that you're not attractive enough? And like I said, she didn't answer me, but you could see on her face, from her eyeballs and the the look she was giving me, it was yes, 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 yes. And I said, that is programming. That is programming. You're sufficiently programmed by the machine that is there to make you believe that you will never be enough without the next product, without the next surgery, without being the perfect weight, without having all those extra clothes, without the makeup, etc., etc., etc. You are part of that machine, and that part of the machine is specifically targeting women. Keeps women busy with that. Why? We don't want the women waking up to their power. So then I turned to her husband. And I said, "Hey, do you look in the mirror and think that you're fat? Do you turn around and check your butt? Do you worry that you're wearing the same thing day in and day out? Do you feel that you don't have enough clothes in your wardrobe?" And he just laughed. Of course he did. And I said, "That's because you aren't targeted with that particular part of the machine like women are targeted." So, what beliefs do we have? You've got to question everything. What beliefs do we have that, what is it that they're targeting at all of us as a whole? What are the lies that they're filling us with? Do you believe that alcohol is required at social gatherings, whether you drink or don't drink? Do you believe that a particular amount of alcohol is safe to consume under the health guidelines, which they keep changing so frequent? I mean, Canada have just raised theirs to like 15 drinks a week or something. So, they keep changing their mind about all that. Do you believe that coffee is actually good for you? Do you believe that the government, the media, and Big Pharma is in the business of empowering you? Do you believe that they are in the business of keeping you healthy? Let's see. The medical industry wouldn't be making their billions of dollars if people were healthy. I watched an interview many, many years ago. I can't remember how many years ago now, but it was a long time ago. And in the middle of this interview, the guy leans forward and he said, I'm not in the business of health. I am in the business of making my shareholders money. So tell me what level of consciousness that is. What level of consciousness is it where your shareholders, which now they want to call stakeholders, but your shareholders are more important than the very lives that this business was set up to assist? It is all part of the program. Healthy people won't make them money. The industry doesn't think that food is medicine, or that what you eat might be affecting your health. We're all carrying around a big bag of lies that we have bought into. And at the very beginning of this stuff a couple of years ago, right, when they said like stay inside, everybody, including the medical industry, they know that vitamin D is necessary, that it is so good for you. And instead, look, there are a lot of us, some of us are lucky enough to live in homes or on properties and you can get out, but look at the amount of people that were in units. If you really cared about our health, wouldn't you put a bunch of spinach, a whole lot of oranges, some vitamin C, and tell us to get out in the sun and go for walks? Like, so much doesn't make sense. But this was a test. It was a test to see how many people would be compliant. It was a test to see if the previous years of grooming and programming had been enough. It was all a test. Now, I know I haven't spoken vocally about this and I'm not going down all the rabbit holes, but my intention for tonight is, why weren't enough people questioning from word go? Why did so many people from word go fall into fear immediately? They fell into fear, and it was like, tell me what to do next, tell me what to do next, tell me what to do next. Tell me what to do next, because I can't think for myself. We have to come back to our power and our sovereignty. We have to come back and question everything. And I honestly, question me. Question everything that I say. Question everything you read. Question everything you see, especially on the television. Question everything. We are all carrying around a big bag of lies. Most of those lies do not serve us. They're designed to do nothing other than to keep us in line for easier control as we're moved from one paddock on this human farm to another, right? Like, if you've ever listened to me before, I'm constantly saying, question everything. Question everything. Like, we all have to come back to it. And I will say it over and over and over again, and I won't ever stop saying it. Because there is no one on the planet more intuitive than anyone else. There is no one on the planet that is more powerful than anybody else. We all have access to the same resources. There are just some people that are more practiced. And for the people that have been sufficiently programmed and bought into fear immediately, it's an absolute shutdown. Because what does fear do? That. Let's say you have a fear of spiders. Energy's running beautifully. Then you see a spider. The spider's dead. You consciously know it's dead, but it's too late. What did you do the moment you saw the spider? You did that. So what's happened in that moment is the spider knot has appeared in your energy field, and no longer is this energy running beautifully, but it's hitting the knot and backtracking, which is called a psychological reversal. So that moment that everybody went, oh my God, I'm so scared. There's stuff going on. I'm not safe outside of my house. Oh my God. What were they doing? Nobody was relaxed, going, hey, I'm so scared. I'm not going to leave my house. No one was doing that. It's this. You see it in their physiology. And in that space, in psychological reversal, you can't think clearly. It's impossible to think clearly. Fear paralyzes you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Sharon, I used to work for the pharmaceutical company and took their board minutes. They lie. They emit data. They tweak the clinical trials to suit their narrative, and they openly said, we want people to be sick. Oh my God. Sharon, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. This is where the disconnect has happened. The disconnect has happened because people moved from heart consciousness to this. And we've been groomed, use your head, use your head, use your head, use your head. None of this alignment stuff, use your head, use your head. What I'm telling you to do is come back into your heart center, because you put a hand on your heart, it makes the whispers of your heart louder. But the whispers of your heart, you need to listen to that rather than the BS in the programmed brain. You have your conscious mind and you have your subconscious mind, and it is a programmed mind. They know how to do it. They know how to use it. They have been using it for years and years and years. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. But we are waking up and heading towards heart-based consciousness, and they do not want that. Over the next 4 months, guarantee you, there's going to be lots of drip feeding, big drops with more corruption. Things are shifting. Things are shifting. Truths are being revealed. And look, the next couple of years is going to be an interesting time. But this has to happen. There is no bypassing this, and we are here because we are strong enough to deal with it. Question every one of your stories. Question every one of your beliefs. Question every thought. And like I said, question me. You'll know truth. We all know truth. It resonates. It feels right or it doesn't feel right. Stop listening to the BS in your head. Your ego has this incredible desire to be right. Your ego is the storyteller, but the heart and the whispers of the heart, it's a couple of words and it's truth. It is truth. It'll be a word or two and you will feel it. We need to work on freeing ourselves of the programs that don't serve us, and the programs that limit us. Why is it that that, let's say, I don't know, something, a habit that you do, a substance that you take, a way of being, why is it that we might know that it's not good for us? And on a good day, say we're going to stop doing it, yet we keep falling back into that pattern. Why is it that we take a couple of steps forward and then a couple of steps backwards? Why is it we do that? We do that because of our programs. We are all at the mercy of subconscious programs. You're a lot easier to influence than you think. And for those that are here that are in the Power of You program, you will know I shared with you a video last night. And I'm going to be sharing that again on this page here. I'm going to share with you a video of Max Major. And for those that have seen it, I would love for you to comment on it. So Max Major was on America's Got Talent. It's an amazing, amazing video to watch. I'm going to share it straight after tonight's call, or after tonight's module or call, Awaken the Dream. But I'm sharing it to show you just how easy it is to influence people in 3 minutes. Just 3 minutes. And I want you to keep in mind when you watch the video that all the screens that you see that have got people coming in from their own homes are not in the studio, right? This was during COVID times. Oh, said the word. But this is during that period, right? And they couldn't have a live audience, so people were patched in. So you see hundreds of screens. These people were not influenced by something that was a poster at the door when they came in, or little symbols on the seats or anything like that. There was none of that. All they did was watched a 3-minute video. That was it. And that was enough to influence them. And you might think, well, how would something like that work? The symbol, it'll all come together for you when you watch it. How you were influenced, or how they were influenced, wasn't because something was put on the guy's forehead. It wasn't because it was on his shirt or anything. It's literally hidden in plain sight. They know the power of hiding things in plain sight. It's in plain sight. Your subconscious mind takes it all in. Our subconscious mind takes in everything around us, every moment, all of it, all of it, all of it. The conscious mind can only take in 134 bits. It's always generalizing, deleting, and distorting information according to what's important to it. The conscious mind doesn't have the capacity to take in everything. So you will think consciously that you are seeing everything, but you're not. But your subconscious mind is taking it all in. I don't think I can use those words here to describe that video. Oh, do it in code like you did on the other page. Valerie, cigarettes were first sold as healthy. Now we all know that they aren't, and nothing is done to stop the market. They fake trying to discourage people. Absolutely, because there is money to be made. Okay, it's all about money and control. So the first ads for cigarettes were doctors. Your doctor smokes Camel. I remember my dad smoked Camel because doctors smoked Camel, right? The programming runs deep. Okay. So the job of the subconscious mind is to protect us, right? It's a protection mechanism, and that protection mechanism runs 24 hours a day, and it is outside of our conscious awareness. And by that I mean we don't need to consciously pump blood to our heart. We don't need to consciously breathe. We don't need to consciously make sure that our body is functioning correctly, right? So it's a storehouse for all memories. Our subconscious mind does so much, right? And it pumps the blood. It makes sure that everything in the body is running smoothly, etc. So it is a mechanism that is designed to protect us, right? But one of the tools it uses to protect us is it's constantly looking for repetitive content. And in this video you will understand more, right? But it's constantly looking for repetitive content, and it does this for one simple reason. Because if it looks for repetitive content, it believes that that content will represent the majority. It will represent what most people are thinking, what most people are looking at, what most people are saying, what most people are doing. So, in effect, it thinks that it is checking on what's happening within the tribe at this very moment. So, if it knows what's going on with the majority, then it's effectively going, okay, if we're like everybody else, then we've got a tribe, we're going to feel safe, right? This is where we're headed. So the powers that be, they know that we have, like they know that we have this part of us that is constantly looking for what is repetitive. Amazing marketing people know this. They know that you're going to need to see it 7 times. They know that you're going to need to see it at least 3 or 4 times before you click on it. The 7th time you might buy it. They know the yes set. Let me tell you, this is something I teach my CTCs too, because we talk about programming in that. If you give 3 yeses, you're likely to give a 4th yes. This is how car salesmen work. Beautiful day, isn't it? Yes, it is. Out looking for a car? I'm in a car yard. Of course I'm looking for a car. Okay, so yes. Looking for a car? Yes. This is a beautiful one, isn't it? Yes. Oh, we have one here that you'd like to take for a test drive. Would you like to take it for a test drive? You're likely to say yes. It is a yes set. So the way the brain works is you get 3 yeses, you're likely to go for a 4th, which is why you'll see a lot of content written with, do you feel this? Are you this? Are you looking for this? Do you wish that? And they will ask all these things to drive you into a yes set. So, Marina, Dunhill, Dad went through a Dunhill phase. Yeah, my dad smoked Dunhill because Royal had the Royal logo on it. The things we do, right? So the powers that be know how the brain works. They know that we're constantly, looking for repetitive content. So the mind is scanning. It's scanning the entire environment all the time, and it's doing it at incredible speed. It doesn't miss a single thing, and you're going to see that when you watch that video. It does not miss a single thing. So once the repetitive content is established, it's like, okay, yep, see it there, see it there, see it there, see it there, see it. Got it, that's the majority. Everybody's holding the same thing. Everybody's doing the same thing. NAB have changed their sign to jab, right? All these things, right? You see it everywhere. I mean, like if we look at the marketing just in the last couple of years, can we see the programs? Just in marketing alone, we see the exact same programs in the marketing of climate change. We see oh my goodness, you know where else we see it? With the whole transgender thing and the 80 or 100 plus genders, and not genders, the what people want to identify themselves at, right? It just goes on and on and on. And then you've got companies that are coming out vocally and saying, oh, this is what we're doing, this is what we're supporting, and the colors and all these things, right? And look, 100%, I honestly believe we need to learn to love and accept everybody. This is not about any choices that anybody makes. But we need to look at the program that is being placed and what that program is actually leading to. Because when a child at a few years old can be told they need to not go home and tell their parents what the teachers are actually telling them and encouraging them to do at schools, that is just not on. Not on. Hello, beautiful Gosha, how are you? So once the brain has actually established this repetitive content, okay, and it believes that this content actually reflects the majority, reflects the bigger picture, and it wants to be safe, right? It goes, well, okay, hang on a minute. If I buy into this program as well, then I'm like everybody else. And people like people who are like them. So if people like people who are like them, and I do this, and then I'm like everybody else, I'm going to fit in with the crowd, and I will be safer. I will be looked after, because I'd rather be in the majority than the minority. And the powers that be know that. They've known it for a very long time. So in that video that I will share with you, the subconscious mind declared that everybody that was watching this became part of that tribe that belonged to, I'm not going to mention the picture, but that belonged to that, and we're safest if we stick to that part of the tribe. When I went to the bank and they had a rainbow sticker saying welcome here, I thought we were all people and we we're all welcome. Yeah, this is the thing. It's all happening to normalize a particular way of being, to hand over more control and power. Loving being part of this community. I haven't had this many meaningful interactions since our kids were born. Oh, Gosha, welcome. Welcome, welcome. Oh, gosh, Gosha. Welcome. I had to do that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Okay, the more we realize that we're programmed, and this is something for all of us to do, right? The more we realize that we are programmed, the more we can actually be aware of the programmings. Because if you go, oh, me, I'm not programmed, I got no programs. It's like the alcoholic thinking they don't have a problem, right? So the more we realize that we are built on programs, that we do have programs, some of them we are aware of and some of them we're not. But the more we are aware, the more we are able to do the weeding, the more we're able to get in there and weed out those things. The more we are humble enough to recognize that we are, in fact, unconscious, the more we are then able to have an awareness of our awareness. Okay, the more we're thinking about what we're thinking about. So the more we have an awareness of our awareness, the more easily we can step up and become more conscious. Because living in, gosh, because living in denial doesn't get anybody anywhere, right? There has always been an underlying theme with the government and all forms of media, all of it, the print media, the social media, all of it, all of it, all of it, right? There has always been an underlying theme, and that theme has always been to affect your behavior, to affect what you do, to affect what you think, and to make sure you keep playing small. Why? They can't control powerful people. They cannot control powerful people, which is why the awakening is scaring the hell out of them. So there's a specific part of the brain that is targeted. It is intentionally targeted to keep you in chaos. It is intentionally targeted to keep you feeling like mediocre, struggling, and certainly not empowered. But they don't want you to be empowered at all. But here's the thing, we do have a few along the way that come, fall through the cracks, and they gain access to somebody that can help them hack their brain and weed out the things, weed out the roots, etc., clear out the old programs and literally rewire them for incredible health and success. And honestly and truly, this is what I see all the time in the CTC sessions. We get rid of the old programs where we are rewiring you. We are rewiring you into alignment with that greatest version of yourself, because we know as CTC therapists that you are not your programs. We know that you are not your stories. And in fact, the CTC session is not about storytelling. We're not going to sit here and even allow you to indulge in your story. We actually ask you to write a list in point form before you have your session of all the things that are bothering you, just in point form, because a story is damaging. Just tell us the feeling. Angry at this person, can't let go of this, feel this, because we can't wipe out your memory, but we can basically clear up the emotional attachment, the power that you're losing to it. So it's an extraordinarily powerful process because we understand the programs. It's what I teach all the therapists. So we all need to be awake enough to push back on the system that is designed to have you fail. It is designed to have you fail. It is designed to have you fail in health. It is designed to have you fail in happiness. It is designed to have you fail in success. We have to remember that we vote with every single thing that we do. We vote with every single thing that we buy, with everything that we watch. Everything that we participate in is us saying, keep it going. Keep doing it the way you're doing. I'm funding it. I'm investing in your business. The only way a business stays afloat, the only way it can survive is if we continue to support it, if we continue to use the platforms, or if we continue to buy the products. So we have to be real about what we're doing, our involvement, where we're investing our energy, etc. And I know, look, for me personally, I do have issues, and we are we have Mary Jane sharing everything across all platforms. Do I have an issue with the whole Facebook thing? Absolutely. Absolutely. And am I still here? Yes, I am. I'm here because it does still serve me. So I've had to weigh up the how we use it, what we do. But we need to come into everything that we do knowing that we are contributing, not kidding ourselves, but recognizing that, hang on a minute, I know this is not great and I dislike the censorship. I dislike so many aspects of it, but I also know that it's an incredible platform for me to access people, to be able to come live to you. Can I use Zoom? Absolutely, but then I would still be needing to promote things on the social media. So it is about recognizing everything that we're doing and, taking responsibility for every choice that we're making along the way. So, yes, as I was saying, we vote, right? Always with everything that we're doing. And here's the thing, our brain and body, thanks to the mirror neurons, doesn't know the difference between a real or imagined experience. It doesn't know the difference between screen time. It doesn't know the difference between real time. And it doesn't know the difference between imagined. So things are constantly being implanted. Things are constantly being downloaded. TV shows were very, very different when I was growing up. And I know that, there are others here that can attest to that too. Marina Russell just moved to Rumble. Yeah, they blocked a video last week, I believe, or the week before. So I've actually checked on that too, and have been thinking about putting a lot of our stuff as well, there as well. Although we don't share enough stuff that was going to warrant censorship, and I'm generally pretty careful with that. So things were very different when I was growing up. It's not to say that the control wasn't there, but things were done very differently, right? I remember as a child, I think one of the craziest things I'd see on television was when Sylvester the cat was actually had the bird in his mouth, things like that, right? But you can actually see how everything has become a lot more violent, a lot more detailed, a lot more aggressive. A lot of things have become very lifelike. Now, the reason they have to do that is because we become chemically addicted to seeing things a particular way, and the only way to get that rush, the only way to stay addicted, is to actually hit us with more of a dopamine hit, right? To make it a bit louder, a bit more full on, a bit more aggressive, a bit more lifelike, etc., which keeps you sucked in. So I recall in the 80s, and actually, Marina, I was going to actually ring you today because I thought if anybody's going to know, it's going to be you. But I recalled a TV show from the 80s with a red convertible, and the guy had a moustache, right? Anyway, so I messaged Martin and I said, "Babe, do you remember this TV show?" And he came back with a no. And I thought, Marina will for sure. But then I Googled and I found it. So it was Magnum PI. Now, this was in the 80s, right? And in one of the episodes, which was the most detailed episode I remember ever seeing, they showed this in far more detail, right, than ever before. But somebody was suiciding, they were gassing themselves, right? And it showed the how. It showed the how in this show. That same week that it aired, people ending their lives that way went through the roof. The numbers went through the roof. The same thing happened in 2001 with the movie Gone in 60 Seconds. The same week that was released. Now, that was a movie about car theft. And it was like constant car theft, right? So keeping in mind that the subconscious mind is looking for repetitive content, right? It makes it real. It makes it real in the body. It's downloading. It's constantly downloading programs. And if you have ever had an inkling or a desire to steal a car, if you had ever thought about doing it, now that part of you is being fed. Now that part of you is saying, it's cool, it's safe, you can do this, right? So the same week that it was released, when it was first released in Canada, car theft went through the roof. And it did so again every single place that it was released in. The same week it was released, car theft went up in that particular area. So we are programmed to mimic and emulate the most repetitive content in our environment. How is it that we have moved from not being okay with things to being okay with it? How is it that the thought, 40 years ago of seeing something in detail and horrific on television was just like, oh my God, unheard of it. You just don't go there. The X-rated, the R-rated, all that stuff, it was very different. And now it's normal. Why? Because you've been groomed. You've been groomed, you've been programmed. And then you wonder why our world is in the state it's in. You wonder why so many people think that such bad behavior is okay. So that's why people are angry. It's why people are violent. That's why people are harming each other, because of the program. And they want you turning against each other. This is the thing. Why? Because division weakens people. We don't want people standing together. If they remember how powerful they are and they all stood together, then the powers that be don't have a chance. However, if we create as much divisiveness, if we get people turning on their neighbours, not even speaking to their neighbours, if we can do all that, then we stay in control because we're still in control of their minds. And all of that stuff is on that 85-inch television. So most movies that you divide and conquer, absolutely. Marina, he was so handsome in the 80s, yes. Most movies that you go and see, the TV shows, right, they're all riddled with mind control. They use mind control tools everywhere that they can, and they are in plain sight most of the time. Most of the time they're in plain sight. And when you watch this 3-minute clip that I send you, you're going to be blown away that although it is in plain sight, you didn't actually see it. So they do these things in plain sight because they know that they can. Whereas years ago, and they still do this sometimes now, but there are laws apparently against it, but the subliminal programming used to actually be behind what you were seeing and flashing so very quickly that you actually can't see it with your physical eyes. Disney movies, yep, absolutely. Disney movies have got them too. So whether it's, subliminally portrayed, like, in the background, or flashing in the background so you can't even see it, it is always there, and it is always in plain sight, whether you see it or not. But they know how to do it in front of you. Now, the reason they do it in front of you is because then you have free will and choice. You chose it. You chose to do it. We dangled a sparkling object. We maybe forced you. We maybe said you can't do this unless you do that. We maybe did that. But at the end of the day, you had free will and choice. You chose that. So here's the thing. They're convincing you that you're living a life of fake freedom because you think you're the one making the choice. You're totally unaware of the stuff that's being flashed in front of your eyes. So, you go to the cinema and you think you are choosing, but they're all filled with the same sort of thing. They're using the same symbols, the same ideas, the same patterns, the same stuff it's being used throughout the movies. It's being used on the billboards. It's being used in social media. It's being used, the news, it's being used absolutely everywhere. I mean, think about it. Why is it suddenly everybody's getting tattoos? Everybody thinks red wine is better. Everybody thinks that the 9 to 5 mundane is normal, acceptable. Why? All these things are just being normalized, that's all. We've all fallen into these patterns because that part of our brain is looking for repetitive content always. And what it's doing is it's making you stick with it. It's making you believe that it's true, to the point where you will argue with other people over it. You will argue with things you will argue over things with other people, not because you know for a fact it's true, but because somebody told you it was true. And it must be true because the government wouldn't lie, the media wouldn't lie. Like, we need to look at everything. We need to also, recognize that there are some people, very surprising people, that have said things over the last, few years, 6 years, 10 years. Like, well, people have been speaking up for a long time, but people have said things to try and shake us awake, to try and get us to see things differently. The powers that be know how this works, then they have used it as a weapon against us. They have weaponized like everything, because they know about the fact that we see things peripherally, that everything is a tool that can be used against us. They don't need to come for our throat. They don't need to do any of that. They're planting the seeds, they're playing the game, and we're walking in. They don't want you to remember how powerful you are, because, if you truly loved yourself and valued yourself, if you stood in your power, if you remembered how powerful you are, you wouldn't be easy to control, and their game would be over. And that's what's happening now. More and more people are waking up. More and more people are questioning. They are losing control, and this is why the shit show is escalating. But like all things that escalate, they make big mistakes. They've got you in a position where you've been, bombarded with the repetitive scenarios to keep you in angst and fear, and to keep that part of your brain, to keep you controlled by using that part of your brain that has you feeling terrified to go against the messaging, terrified to go against the majority, terrified to go against the tribe, because if I'm in the minority, I'm not safe. So then you stay with the tribe. If you've mastered your power, you won't mind being in the minority. But until then, you're at the mercy of your programs. So there's another video that I want you to share. And for those in the Power of You program, I haven't shared it there, but it will be on this page too. So I'm sharing 2 videos on this page. So there's actually another video with an amazing, amazing hack of the subconscious mind. And in that video, there are 3 teenage influencers, right? Social media influencers, who think that they're actually being called in to help to teach I think the guy's name is Justin Williams, I think. But they're there to teach him how to become an influencer, like, how he should create content, what he should do, etc., etc. But here's the thing. Instead, through very, very clever conversation, he hacked them. He hacked their mind. And then when they were told to take, like 100 selfies, like go through this building and take a huge amount of selfies at any location within the building, so basically, specially themed rooms. So I want you to go pick any one of these objects from this box, each of you individually. Pick objects from this box. I want you to go and take a huge amount of selfies. And then what they had to do was pick one of the selfies and pick one of the hashtags. They all 3 of them picked the exact same type of selfie. They picked the exact same hashtag. And he took a picture of himself and he used that hashtag before he went into this scene with them, so to speak. So what I'm sharing these with you because the more you know, the more you know. The more you know that you can be influenced by dropping in certain words. The more you know that you can be influenced by things appearing in front of you. If there's another one you want to look up, which I have my CTC as watch, is Darren. It's not Darren, it's Darren Brown. Marketing, influencing the marketers, or something like that, but it's on market. If you just type in Darren Brown marketing in YouTube, you'll see another one. And with that, he puts them into a taxi and he drives them from one spot to his office. They drive, past certain things, and he has basically influenced their subliminal mind to create an ad. And these are the world's best marketing people, and he managed to hack them. I share this with you so that I can have you question absolutely everything. Because if you question everything, and if you know how this stuff works, you become less susceptible. I didn't say you won't be affected, because it's clever. It's very clever, but you become less susceptible. Okay, so back to the powers that be. They know how the mind works. MK Ultra is a mind control system that has been used to do the darkest and most horrific of things, and it's been used for a very, very long time. So, whilst our minds will do everything to lovingly protect us, they can be hacked. Our minds can be hacked so as to flip them. So now the conscious mind takes a back seat. The subconscious mind is up front, which is the subconscious mind is a highly suggestible mind. They know how to do that. They know how to do that. So how is it you protect yourself? It's not easy, because you can say that, oh, I can look at it and I'm aware of everything. Martin gets blown away when I'm watching something with him, and very what's the word? Martin watches a lot of things, but here at home, if I sit with him to watch something, we pick things that are just very, very light and fluffy. So one thing we had just watched recently was like an episode of Good Witch, but I'll notice everything, right? I said, oh, did you notice that the teacup had moved, or the teapot? She put it down on the table, but when they showed this angle, the teapot wasn't there. Things like that, and he'll go, no. So I have an awareness, right? But does that mean that I'm not susceptible to programming? Absolutely not, because I can't possibly. My subconscious mind is taking everything in, but I still, although I've trained my conscious mind to take in more, I still can't possibly take it all in. So it's not easy to not be affected by programs. But when you learn to question everything, then you've got an incredible backup. That's when you check in with your heart. Question absolutely everything. Like I'm saying, don't even trust me. Trust your own heart and the clarity of your own heart more than you trust me. Like I said, they don't grab you by the throat and force you to do anything. They don't need to do that, because they know how to trick you into doing it. They know how to trick you so that you seemingly think that you're making your own choice and using your own free will. So I'm asking you to reclaim your power, to love yourself, to value yourself enough to stand tall in your power, to remember who you are, to remember your sovereignty, to listen to your heart, and you do all that and their game is over. That's what we all need to be doing. Questioning everything and putting an end to this shit show. In foods, they use additives, yes, to reach. So yes, absolutely. Substance. So the thing is, they dumb you down. They dumb you down with fluoride. They dumb you down with the belief that, look, I'm a coffee drinker. I will have a coffee a day, and I'm not justifying that. Oh, it's only one or two or whatever. I have been thinking more and more of late to even cut that out, but it is a toxicity. And some people say, I've heard people say, oh, but I use it and it makes me go to the toilet or whatever. I hear all sorts of excuses, right? And I mean, the fact is, yeah, it does that because it's a toxin, because your body knows it's not good for it, and it does everything it can to repel it out of the body straight away. And in doing so, it also dehydrates you, because it just grabs as much water as it possibly can and to eliminate this from us. So, recognize the things that you're doing and what you could do better. Really important that we do that. So additives in foods are used to dumb us down. Alcohol obviously is used to dumb us down. I mean, this is why they give alcohol to the indigenous. They put alcohol, like they're telling you it's gone from one drink a day to X amount a day, and we keep doing that because then if you're drinking, it's also a toxin. We can dumb you down a little bit more. The most of the food is fake, right? As we know, that is used to control us. That our body needs good, healthy foods, ideally. Valerie, the sweet spot. So just talking about it, have the taste in the mouth. Okay, I've missed something here. Okay, did you show us that during CTC training, Valerie? I'm assuming that's the Darren Brown. Yes, so during during hypnosis component, Valerie, you would have seen the Darren Brown video. And for everybody else, you can just Google YouTube Darren Brown marketing, and it should pop up for you. I am going to share with you really bad additives. Absolutely, absolutely, Marina. There's some really terrible stuff in our food, and they are giving it a tick of approval, saying that it's food. It's not food. There are a lot of things that we eat that are not food, but it's all with a particular intention in mind. All of it. Went down the additive rabbit hole quite a few years ago. It's frightening. Yep. Lots of talk about spraying in the air. Yes, yes, it's all true. Lily, it's all true. And I was speaking to Sharon the other day, and Sharon asked me some pretty big, dark questions, and unfortunately, it was all true. So it's true. It's true. How else do you make people believe a particular thing, a particular narrative, and the importance of acting on it with absolute haste, unless you frighten people? So there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on, but the only reason it is you're being bombarded every single day, the only reason you're being bombarded every day is because they're losing control. So it's like, oh my God, do it, do it, do it, do it, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this. They're starting to wake up, they're starting to wake up, and they don't want to give you a break. You're not allowed to have one day. You're not allowed to have one day to come up for air. Because if you come up for air, you'll wake up. And they're trying everything that they can. No, that's right, Lily. They're trying everything that they can. But this is a big sign of us, our evolution, and waking up. So lots of truths will be exposed in the next few months. I know it. All right. I am going to share those 2 videos. Now, if there is anybody here that wants to go into a pretty dark rabbit hole, when I say dark, it's not dark. If you feel like you can hold the light, there is a video, one lady's true story, a documentary that's just been recently released about MK Ultra, the mind control, which has been used for many, many years. It's her story. If you feel you can hold space for yourself and hold the light and just watch it as an eye opener, let me know. I'm not going to share it here on this page. I'm not going to share it in the comments, but if you want, PM me and I will share it to you that way. I'll share the link. Only if you want to go down that. It's they used mind control, and she talks in a lot of detail about what had happened, and we're talking about trafficking and all sorts of things here. Every second person I know has stopped watching the news. Yay! It's become too much, which is awesome. Beautiful, beautiful. Because all of us, no matter how programmed we are, beneath the programming, there is an innate truth. If it doesn't make sense, it doesn't make sense. If it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel right. There's a thing within us, and because more and more people are waking up, it's the 100th monkey thing, right? More and more people are waking up, so it is naturally elevating the whole. It is bringing everybody else to their own awakening. So it is happening. I celebrate it. I celebrate each and every person that has held the light. I celebrate each and every person that continues to share light and send out light to the planet. Thank you very much for all that you do. All right. Are there any questions before I end this call? So again, I'll be sharing 2 video clips straight after. I will add them to this page, the You Create the Dream page. And if you would like to watch the Kathy O'Brien documentary with MK Ultra to really get an understanding of the programming and how that works and how they utilized it, let me know and I will PM you that. Eric got a call to find out which channels he is watching. You called him? It is. I'm assuming that's what that is. All right. Much love to you all. I wish for you an amazing night. And for those that are considering joining the Power of You program, it is not too late to do so. Much, much love to you all. Good night, everybody.